Thank you so much, Scott. You know, he told me not to touch the mic, and now all I want to do is touch the mic. So that's probably what I'm going to be doing, just telling myself this whole time, don't touch the mic. Thank you, Scott, and thank y'all for your time today. As is true for kind of who I am, I'm going to spend a few minutes being very direct and very honest with you all and help you kind of walk through where I think we have to go to build on what the governor said and what Bill Cork is probably going to say at some level in a little bit. I think the reality is every time they do their job really well, it just puts more pressure on me and my team. So I want to say stop, but please don't, because it's making it a lot of fun. But at the end of the day, our goal is simply to collaborate with you. I think a lot of times this workforce development system can get it twisted and spend its time collaborating with government and each other, and that's actually not the hard part. The hard part is collaborating with business and industry. So I want you to know as I get started, I resisted every urge to make this a commercial. I wanted to, but I didn't. You're welcome. But if you do want a commercial, it's on our website, it's on our social media, or we'd be happy to chat with you about some things. What I do want to talk to you, though, is where I think we go from here. I think that matters a lot if you listen to what Governor Reeves has said, what Lieutenant Governor Hosemann is going to say, most likely. There's a lot of change that's happened in a short amount of time, and there's more coming if we're lucky. Fortune favors the bold, as they say. Our reality in workforce development is simply that the government is going to spend, government in general, some amount of money. Okay, probably a lot of money on education and workforce development. If we are not careful, we will spend a lot of money solving problems that you actually don't care about, because the money is going to get spent. It is my goal when I think about federal and state funding systems, kind of where they have been as a nation and where I think that they're trying to go now, which is a little different than where it has been. If we're not careful, the money's going to be spent to just solve whatever problems people can identify the easiest, okay? So I say that to say we can make some problems that don't exist and shouldn't exist so that we can have the feeling that we have done something that matters. That's what you guys have to hedge against. That's what we need our industries at the table. So if me or my team asks to meet with you, or if you ask to meet with us, I want you to know before I even roll into this that we want to know what your problems are. Most of these did not get started overnight. They're not going to get solved overnight. But as Scott said, thank you, I actually really appreciate that. It's going to be treated with urgency. It may take some time to kind of figure out what a realistic solution is. But we're good at that at this point. You know, we stepped in as an office in 2021, and what we found really was a system that seemed to be lacking kind of a bigger picture and a bigger goal. The goal has to not be spending money. We have to be doing more than simply spending money. So we began to fix that. We stopped funding dumb stuff. I don't have a better way to say that. To start funding things that start funding things that can move the needle, realistically move the needle. The challenge is in government, if we're not careful, we will move needles nobody cares about. So what we have to know is what are the needles that you all care about? And it has to go beyond OSHA 10 and CPR refresher, okay? It's got to be some value add things that truly are going to make a difference to your bottom line. When I came on board, when Ryan before me came on board, the mission has been very simple the entire time that the office has been in existence, which has been under Governor Reeves' leadership. We have to work on things that help more people make more money. It's pretty simple to talk about. It's a little bit more complicated to do, but that is what we call keeping the main thing the main thing. Does this help more people go to work making more money? And if the answer is no, then we have to have some hard conversations. We need you, our private sector, in a real way, and probably in the realest way we've ever needed you right now. Because there is a lot of flux in the system, if you haven't heard. There's some things going on at the national level. There's some things going on at the state level. We need your voices. We need to know from you what problems you need solved today and what problems can wait a little bit. They're not all urgent, even if they feel that way. So sometimes we need help in kind of diving through the minutia and the noise, because there is so much noise. But my goal every single day when I wake up with this job is to make sure we're mobilizing resources. That could be cash, it could be human capital, to solve problems that you actually recognize as problems. Now, sometimes that means we have to educate you that this is a problem because it may go deeper than what you can see from your vantage point. That's okay. But what we know to be true is most of the time, the things that get your attention are problems that hit your bottom line. Those are the kinds of problems that we think we can be of help to you if we do it together. The reality is in workforce, there's a real strong urge to just write checks that momentarily make people feel warm and fuzzy. The problem is you'll come back next year for the same check. And so what we're trying to mobilize is resources that do more than just cut a check to make us feel better. We're trying to mobilize, sometimes we do have to cut a check to do some things. So money does help, fortunately. But we want to work on things that actually make your workforce more productive, things that drive outcomes that we can actually talk about, not just say, oh, we spent a bunch of money and we hoped it worked. That at least is what my board has told me I am to do, and I take it seriously, John, so thank you. But as we talk about what makes workers more productive, how we get our industries to the point where they can invest in the workers and they can invest in technology and things that help drive your productivity up, the reality is we cannot do it without you at the table, whatever that table may be. I want to acknowledge something, though. What we know is that it is expensive to come to the table. It is also not necessarily, doesn't always feel like a reward when you come to the table. So that's what we're trying to work through, because the reality is it's a lot more expensive for everybody if you don't come to the table. And if the table is set in your industry and it's better for you, if we come to you, say the word, and we will be there. The money is going to get spent. The question is, does it get spent solving problems that you have identified or problems that government has identified at whatever level? And listen, we're pretty creative. We can come up with some problems, so don't let us. Please, trust me. As we move forward, as we think about this stuff, I think at least, I don't think it's apathy. I don't think people are saying, oh, we don't want to be at the table. We don't want to do it. I think there's a level of frustration. And I see this nationwide. I have the fortunate privilege of working all over the country with people. And what I see is there's some frustration with the system because companies have said, here is what we need. And government and education have said, that's fantastic. You need A and B, we will give you X, Y, and Z. And you're supposed to be thankful for that when we do that. So when you say A and B, I want you to hold us accountable, especially in my office, to say, this is what we asked for, this is what we need. We may identify other things in the process. But what we have moved away from as an office is throwing small dollars at everything. I have a saying that I say is if we do everything for everyone, we've ultimately done nothing for no one. And that is real easy to do in workforce. So we moved away from that. We have stopped funding or started funding outcomes instead of just activities. I'm not bemoaning kind of the way it's been. It just was, the world's changed a lot since 2020. And we have the privilege as an office of starting up under the new world order, not under the old world. And so that actually, it's challenging because there is not a standard for which we should do this. So we're having to design it. We need real intelligence from you. Not just, oh, we think this is perfect and pretty. It's a major red flag to me if I come to talk to you and everything is perfect, because I know that's not true. I know that's not what you're saying behind closed doors. I want you to tell me directly. If you haven't figured out by now, I'm pretty direct and I can take it. So please don't hold back when you're talking to me. I'm not working on things like OSHA 10 refreshers and CPR refreshers. Those are absolutely things that need to happen, but they're not moving the needles that we hear you all say you need the needles moved on. So let's talk about where we're going. That's kind of where we were, and I promised you I'd talk about where we are going. Here's what I need, and here's what I hope as we move forward over the next few months and year. We need to know what competencies you all need in an entry-level worker. Not credentials, not just broad skills, not, oh, if they can just pass a check or pass a drug test and show up on time, we'll hire them. That's not helpful, because it's actually not true. You'll do it if you have to, but it's not what you want. So we need to know what those competencies are. I'll brag a little bit on a couple of different industries that we've just happened to do a lot of work with as we move forward. Shipbuilding, 5 years ago, we couldn't all sit down and talk and have really deep conversations. We can today. With the industries in the room, which if you're not used to this, it's oftentimes really hard to get companies to say real things when they have their competitors in the room. But we have found that this process actually works. We have automotive manufacturers who are hiring their own instructors and sending them into K-12 classrooms. They're figuring out what they need to do to solve problems, and they're going to do it. We have healthcare companies, Singing River, North Mississippi Medical Center, to name a couple, who are investing in training and having their own training programs on site. These are things that matter, and these are things we are trying to partner with and bolster and learn from. And these are all industries where they have decided what they need as an industry, as an entry-level worker, and then they'll train them from there. It's not perfect, but it's definitely helpful. We don't need job titles, or well, we do if the economic development bill, so scratch this part. But for existing industry, we don't need job titles, we don't need wish lists, we don't even need credentials, but we do need to know your real competencies. We need to know what you need in a mid-level worker and an experienced worker. We're about to lose a large percentage of our labor force. You guys know it better than I do. To retirements. We've been talking about it for 25 years as a country. It's actually fixing to happen. The boomers are saying, peace out, I'm done, I'm going home. We have to replace that experience, and you're not going to replace 30 years of experience with someone who just came out of a 2-year program, no matter how good they are, okay? So we've got a lot of work to do, and this is not just us, this is every state. Everyone is grappling with this. So what I need you to ask yourselves is, are you all building those competencies internally? Do you need external resources from a third party? I would venture to say, and I'm very biased when I say this, so forgive me, I think we're a pretty neutral entity when we come to meet with you. My team, real quick, Trey, would you stand up so everybody can see? I'll sorry a second to get up. Trey Smith runs our talent solutions team. At the break, please see him or myself. If you want to get our phone number to talk to us and figure out what we can do for you, I think it's really important, because if you don't have the time or the money to take care of this now, you're never going to, and we want to work with you on that. Sorry, I'm allergic to everything, so my bad. I almost touched the mic just then too. Did you see that? But anyway, the public system is not going to give you 10 years of experience in a 2-year degree, okay? We have got to work together to figure out how do we get the experience and the degrees in tandem. And it may not be about a degree, it may just be about plain training. We are working to try to solve these problems, but again, if you just let government throw money at something, it's not going to be what you need. We won't always agree, but I think we can always work better in aligning this stuff. I think the cheapest place to fix the skills gap is before it ever shows, which starts in our education entities, and we're working with them. The second cheapest place is in your organizations, because there is no other place to do it. So fixing the pipeline is really important. Expanding the pipeline, giving the pipeline news about what's coming next so that they're not always playing from behind is really, really important. We also have to do this for adults, because they're in our pipeline. They're just really hard to get to compared to kids. If you're not paying about $20 an hour right now, you're not paying what we consider a living wage based on the MIT wage data. That means a single individual, if they are not earning $20 an hour, they are not making the living wage. So when Governor Reeves talked about the $40,000, $60,000, $80,000 a year jobs, that's what we have to do more of. That's what we have to put our time and energy into so that we can do the ultimate thing, which is work on things that help people make more money. But as we work on that, the thing that I have realized is we just have to change how we think about training, productivity, skills, and value. We don't often talk in education and workforce about what is the investment, what is the value of the investment. You guys talk like that every day. Reporting directly to a group of business and industry leaders is really helpful, because it keeps me from getting drugged down into talking about things in ways that sound like government. I think they'd tar and feather me if I did some, so we keep that going. But I also think, and something I need you to hear me say today is, I believe in friction. I think if we're going to design this system, and hear me plainly, I think this system is being redesigned every single day. Establishing the office was literally just the very first step. There are so many more steps, and there's so much more design work that has to be done. We cannot get together and just talk about how pretty and perfect we are behind closed doors. We have to talk about the friction points. I'll tell you a quick story. Years ago, I worked in the training department for a major rubber facility in another state, and the plant manager told me something that I still think about regularly today. He said, we could make a tire that never wears out. I was about 22 years old, and I said, well, yeah, of course. But industry would never allow that because then they won't make any money, right? He's like, no, not exactly. He said, the tire would never grip the road. That's the only way to keep it from losing its tread. You have to lose tread to maintain friction, thus the connection with the road. Otherwise, you'd just be slipping and sliding all over the road. I was not a physics major, okay? So like, I'm a social scientist, not an actual scientist. And so when he said that, I said, you know what? That's absolutely right. And today I say that is workforce development. We need the right kind of friction to stay on the road, to stay on the path that we're on. And we need you all sitting down with us and saying, this is broken. Here's why we think it's broken. Can we fix it? Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes the answer is not right now. But most time the answer has to be, let's figure that out. That is what the Talent Solutions team has been structured to do. That's what they're here for, and I don't think I'm stepping out on a limb to say that's what Trey loves to do, as he and his team are working through things. They've designed new approaches, new concepts, just new everything right now to meet these. Because the reality is any of this stuff is okay as long as we're talking. Silence is the part that sets us back further than anything else. I can hear from government people all day long. I could set a meeting tomorrow and have every government entity within 700 miles in this building if I wanted to. It's hard to get to y'all. So, as I get through this and let y'all go back to fun stuff, we are here to solve problems. Sometimes the solution is funding. Sometimes the solution is recruiting. Sometimes the solution is curriculum development. Sometimes it's marketing. Occasionally it's policy. Regardless of what it is, though, we want to walk through it with you. We want to help you identify local resources, state resources, or national resources that can help you solve whatever those problems are. If the tables that we are setting don't work for you, tell me what kind of table does. And don't hint at me. John knows this. You have to tell me directly, right, John? Like, I don't take hints very well. I'm not paying attention. I need you to say, hey, Courtney, this is what we need. We can't visit thousands of you one-on-one. I would love to be able to, but we can't. My team's never going to be big enough. But if you have identified a problem, even vaguely, that you want to solve, that you think someone should solve, we want to talk to you about it. We have this, what we call the Talent Solutions team, our SWAT team. They can help you walk through it neutrally, help you understand the resources, and help us. It also helps us build an understanding of where the gaps are that maybe we can't see from our perspective. So I'll close out with this to kind of echo a little bit of what Governor Reeves said. Mississippi's not going to out-subsidize every other state, nor should we. But we can out-align them, and I think we are. We can be faster, we can be more honest, we can be more precise, and if we stop talking past each other, I think we can do more than just build programs. I think we can build capacity in people, capacity in our businesses, and capacity in the state. Capacity that beats everyone else improves what we need to do to improve the lives well beyond you and me. I encourage you at the break, if you don't have my cell phone number or Trey's cell phone number, to find one of us, get our cell phone numbers. Please don't email me. That's where things go to die right now. But text us or call us and set up a time where we can come talk to you about the things that you need. And I'm going to turn it over now to everyone else, but I do want to say thank you for the privilege of speaking to you today, but also for being willing to work with us on this, because it really is, it's a lot of fun for people like me. So thank y'all.